Welcome back to another episode of Sports Avenue. I'm your host, Jimmy Simonis, and today we are going to be talking about football today, but we're not going to be talking about sports. We're not going to be talking about football itself. We're going to be talking to Angela Marshall, who was married and lived a life that was centered around the NFL life. And I just want to say, Angela, thank you for joining, and I'm excited to have you on. Thank you, and how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for the opportunity and consideration to just interact with your sports fans on this amazing show. I am excited.
Yeah, not a problem. And I'm excited because when I first saw when you first applied to join the show, I'm kind of looking at this like, does it make sense? Then I was thinking about it like, I think the perspective is really cool and unique because I don't think the platform is out there for wives, lovers of these athletes that no one sees what they go through, and I feel like it's a unique perspective to touch on because it is a struggle and you are a part of something that is much more than just yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I will say that a lot of times we kind of get lost. I guess the family of the supposed celebrity, we get lost in translation. And it's not that we want to be out front, but just to kind of, I guess, give a different perspective of the lifestyle that we're living with them. It's a different outlook, and so far I have been fortunate enough to just be global with my story and platform, which is the story and life of an ex-NFL wife, where I talk about various layers. I talk about, how he and I met, which we met in high school, so we were actually high school sweethearts. I talk about our children. We have two amazing adult children. I also talk about just different struggles that I was able to overcome at some point while in that lifestyle. Because, it's a very stressful, a very high paced lifestyle. And a lot of people are like, that's the good life, in which I will say that the monetary and the materialistic things, and then just different things that you're exposed to, yeah, it's amazing. And then it's just endless, just, bountiful as far as opportunities. But then there's the piece where you're an actual human. So you go through the same ups and downs, the highs and lows that everybody else goes through. But, most people just they don't see that side of it, or they don't understand that side of it, because I think they figure, well, you have money and you have power, you have fame, like, what else could you ask for? Well, when you're having your husband on Christmas, mine might have been playing on Christmas Day, or he might have been playing on Thanksgiving Day or whatnot. And so, of course, he's taken away from the family. But I do understand now. I didn't understand it so much then, but now I understand that, there's a cost and there's a price to pay for different things that you commit to. And he was committed to being a player at that particular time. So that was just the dynamics of our life.
So let's start off with, how did you manage running the family because your husband was pretty much on the football field most of the,
Right.
6 months to 10 months out of the year?
That's right. Well, let me tell you something funny. Initially, like, I never looked at what he did as a job. And I guess because we dated in high school, we dated when he lettered at UGA. And so to me, football was just not a job, even though he would say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go to work." But to me, in my mind, it just never registered that he's actually at a job. So I really, I kind of took advantage, I guess, of that, until after we were divorced and things became a little clearer for me. But being able to run the household while he was, on the field, and then of course traveling a lot, it was a lot for me to have two little children. When we first started out in the league, our children were, I want to say, 2 and 4 at the time. So yeah, it was very difficult. It was almost like being a single parent, to be honest. But we were able to work through everything. And I will say, just from being able to do certain things, being afforded certain things because of the salary and whatnot, it made it a little bit easier. Or actually, I'm going to be honest, it made it a lot easier to deal with him being gone quite a bit. But honestly, I probably would have liked to have him home a lot more to help with, a lot more of the decision making that needed to go on around the house while he was, on the field.
And with those difficulties, what would you say was probably the toughest thing for you going through that time period?
That would be a lot of the engagements that our children would have. Say if they had a production, or they were, supposed to be doing some sort of recital, he could not always attend. So it was like me, the majority of the time, being, again, just the only parent, being the only parent in attendance. So that was tough because, of course, our children being so young, they didn't understand that. I mean, they knew daddy played football, but I don't think until our children, probably at the age of maybe 7 and 9, or maybe even 8 and 10, where they realize, well, no, this is like a job. Like, daddy is actually a professional athlete. He's actually a celebrity. I think they were in the mindset, like I was, that, hey, he's just going out there playing football. So
Right.
so it was rough. If, one of the children had an event or had something, and then it was just me showing up in attendance, it was a little rough for them.
I was actually just about to ask you, how did your children deal with trying to grow up without their father figure always around necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, I think now they understand, the dynamics of it because they're adults now. But then, no, you don't understand that. It's just like, well, why? Well, why can't he be here? Like, this is the third game he's missed, or this is the, fourth ballet recital, or whatever, extracurricular we had the children in. The majority of the time during the season, and for a large part of off season, he was not there. He didn't attend. So yeah, they were heartbroken, and we just tried to make it, I guess, as easy for them as possible. Of course, there were other wives, and so they would attend, or when we would have family come down and visit, then our family would have an opportunity to, see them in their different productions and whatnot also. But for the most part, yeah, it was just, it was very difficult. It was a very difficult transition for us. And then I guess by the time we would have been a little bit more settled in it, then he was released from the New York Giants, and then, we were all figuring out our life after football.
Yeah, how did you adjust to having a life after, or having Arthur having a life after football when that's all he eats, slept, and breathed for his entire life?
Yeah, forever. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. So I guess you could say, there was a lot of frustrations, a lot of stress there. More so, I guess, on his part, because he really didn't know, even though he had a business degree from UGA, he really didn't know initially what to do with himself. So, and then, we were just like, oh my God, it was a lot. It was really heavy. So honestly, we didn't adapt, and we didn't adjust very well. And that's a part of the reason why we ended up filing for divorce in 1999, because it was overwhelming. It really was. And now that we're friends, we've grown, to be friends, and also understand how, to better work together. He's explained a lot of stuff to me. I've explained a lot of stuff to him, and we're better because of it.
And yeah, and not only physically for you, it's mentally a lot of the big portion of it. So was there a way for you to, I guess, release your frustrations, or have an escape from everything, just to kind of get you relaxed?
Well, I worked out quite a bit, but overall, I'm just going to say it was just better for me to endure, because it actually made me the woman that I am today. So everything that I went through with him, because of him, with myself, because of myself, I'm a better person now. And I know that sounds so cliche, because everybody always say, you grow older, you grow wiser, and when you know better, you do better. But it's absolutely true. So for me, a lot of the stuff that I endured, yeah, it was basically mental and emotional, and it was really, really heavy. But I will say this, one thing that Arthur did very well, aside from being a very, very good provider during that lifestyle, he always was encouraging me to do something more. I just didn't take advantage of it, meaning, the NFL would have provided, and I'm pretty sure they still do, because if they were doing it then, I'm sure they're increasing in what they provide. But for the NFL player and the NFL wives, you could go back to school. I mean, it was like endless opportunities that you could take advantage of. It's just that I did not take advantage of nearly the opportunities that they afforded, or, would have provided to me. So it was just being in a slump, and, things were I was just overwhelmed. You're talking about an early 20-year-old who had children young, had a fast lifestyle, who had, endless I guess, opportunities to money, to resources. And it was just a lot. So when you're not, when you're not born into that, or you're not trained, or you're not coached into how to handle those things, it's just really easy to be overwhelmed. And I was really, really overwhelmed. I was really immature, really juvenile, and definitely, just a lot of stress at that particular time.
So when you said you missed those opportunities to grow and do more, when did you see the light? When did you see that you started to see what was going on, and when did you start taking that action to fix what was going on?
That would be probably a year after our divorce was final. So that would have been 2001. I'm going to tell you, and this is very, very true and relevant. I never had to pay a bill while I was married with Arthur. We had people that did that. So as I sat at my table and I was figuring out bills for the first time in my entire life after we were divorced, that's when a lot of things hit me, as far as, wow, if I would have taken advantage of this opportunity or that opportunity, I would better understand the dynamics for this, or I would better understand what I needed to do for that. So it was at that moment, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe I was getting ready to pay like my car insurance, because again, these are things that was always done for us. Like, we had an accountant; they would give us our allowance. He had an allowance, I had an allowance, then our house had an allowance. And then everything else they took care of. That's why we paid. So it was something that simple as me having to start paying my own bills, where I figured, where I was like, wow, Angela, like, you should have taken advantage of different courses and training and every opportunity that the NFL would have given you to make you a better person. Definitely make me more aware, make me more well-rounded financially, economically, socially, culturally. Like, they extended all of those opportunities. A lot of them I just didn't take.
So what was like your biggest inspiration in becoming who you are today? Because, you were at a time where nothing was really working out for you and you had to start afresh and new in your mid 20s or your mid 30s, right?
Yeah, well, actually, so I will be 48 in about a week and a half. But yes, it was right around early 30s, as you mentioned, where the light bulb started going off. But I'm going to tell you, I had a conversation with my mom. My mom died in 2013 from cervical cancer. And that was a mere maybe like 6 years ago or so, 7 years ago. And actually, that was the conversation on her deathbed that jump started the story and life of an ex NFL wife. And it also helped me, it like propelled me into the capability where now I am able to impact and inspire others to what I term get off the bench and get in the game. So, I was living after the divorce and, still trying to right some wrongs and figure out life and whatnot. But after that conversation with my mom on her deathbed, where she kind of exhorted me to live my life. She always knew that I wanted to be a writer, knew that I wanted to be an author and some other stuff. It just, it kind of helped me to light a fire and, just start blazing a trail, which is what I've been doing since I started this actually in 2016. My autobiography was published in 2017, but I've been talking about it and, being on different radio, TV shows, different speaking events and opportunities about the story and life of an ex-NFL wife.
Yeah, so talk about like the platform you've created with using, being an ex NFL wife. Talk about the platform you created,
Yes,
because I mean,
yes.
in 3-4 years, I mean, you've built something that's really strong.
Yes, I was looking at it, everything like my calendars from previous years until obviously this year to current. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I have just set out on this global mission to motivate, to celebrate, illuminate, and liberate others through the experiences that I went through as an NFL wife. Not only does it stop there, but I talk about my childhood, different things that I went through with that. I talk about meeting him. I talk about the NFL experience. Then I talk about the divorce, because unlike other, high profile divorces where, you go through the divorce and settle up with assets and all this other kind of stuff. And then, some people, they may retain their life, still retain their lifestyle and whatnot. I did not. Like, I actually went to a pharmaceutical plant and I worked rotating shift for almost 16 years after my divorce from Arthur. I resigned from that pharmaceutical plant in 2016 to embark on being a published author, a writer, and a speaker. So from there, I just started walking in my truth. Like I started, talking about the different things that I went through, such as anxiety, depression, low self-esteem. How do you make better choices so that you can convert every down in life to a win? So I started coming up with these different sports analogies, sports topics, and it was intriguing people. It was inspiring them, not just an inspiration, but also they were putting these actionable steps in practice in their lives and implementing them. And it was changing their life too. So I started, getting really excited from that standpoint, because anytime that you can help someone based on your truth, the things that you've already been through, so that, maybe they will take that detour and not have to go through that, that's like a win-win. So I'm just walking around like I'm an open book. I get on these different shows or even just face to face with people that, know who I am and know what I do. When we talk in conversation, I'm just really trying to uplift and encourage the next person, so that every stumbling block, or most stumbling blocks that I know that I've already been through and overcame, I can show them and tell them how to turn it into a stepping stone so that they can be successful in life too. So it's amazing. I love it.
Can you talk about some of those sports analogies you have? Because I'm kind of curious, and since it's a sports podcast, it only makes sense to hear about them.
Right. So when I talk about converting the downs in life to win, obviously, that's like first down and 10 or fourth and goal or fourth and 1, like I just talk to them about different downs that they have in their life, whether it's, maybe they are trying to accomplish something and they keep getting rejected, or they keep getting no's, how to just continue pegging away at it, just like in football, pretty much how you just continue the first down, the second down, the third down. And then, if you don't get it, sometimes you have to do, you have to do a kick. Sometimes you have to do a punt return. It just depends on where you're at in your life and what you're looking for you to be able to obtain that result. So it's converting the downs in life to wins. We talk about how to make positive plays every day. Making positive plays every day is just pretty much putting on in your mind the I ams, the I cans, I will, and making it a reality in your life. When I exhort to my grandchildren or to my mentees, I always try to change their dialogue and their verbiage from I can't or maybe or if to, we totally change the trajectory of what they're saying to win, or I am going to do so and so. So that's another one, making positive plays every day, converting the downs in life to win. And then also the greatest thing that I learned from just every professional sports athlete, whether it's football, baseball, soccer, whatever, success is a dish served only to the bold. And one thing about every athlete that I've ever known, whether it's golfer, pro golfer, or whomever, they do not give up. And you have to be bold. You have to be brave. You have to be courageous to go after whatever it is that you're desiring in life. So that's how I came up with that particular one, about success being a dish that's only served to the bold.
And when you see the mentality of these athletes and you're trying to help change people that are going through these tough times, how did you try, because like you said, it took time for you to develop this mentality. How did you give it to these people that need help? And they need time to switch their mentalities from I can't to I can.
That is correct. So basically, by me telling them my story of how I sat on the sideline and how I, definitely had to start meditating, start doing affirmations every day, start reading things that were, that was uplifting. I mean, I really, really had to put a lot of positivity and a lot of purpose-filled things into my life, into my vision, like from certain TV shows, from certain music, books, journaling, writing out, I am successful, I am, I am wealthy, I'm healthy, I'm whole, different things, and, making it line up in my life. Those are generally the tools that I give to them to try to help them to be better and to understand that that's what it took for me to overcome it. Now, whether or not it's going to take them 6 years, 8 years, 2 months, 10 days, it just depends. To me, it depends on the degree of difficulty that you set your mindset to. So when I tell them that, at any given moment, I could have freed myself, which I could have, I just didn't. for whatever reason, it just wasn't, I just didn't think that it was available to me. But now, that I've switched gears and like my mindset is 360, like it's totally, totally different from what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even to a certain extent, even a year ago. Being able to give them those items to help them, I'm noticing that is helping them a lot more. And then I will say, usually when you have someone in front of you and they're giving you certain tools for success and you actually see it, being a reality in their life, typically I notice that you kind of gravitate to it and you try it a lot quicker. See, I never sat in audiences or went to training or events that was, pretty much upbeat or uplifting. Like I would just opt to stay home with the children as opposed to doing that. But I suspect that had I opened up my, if I had opened up my mind to being around some of those things, I probably would have come out of it a lot quicker.
Yeah, you said you left the pharmaceutical plant in 2016 and you started your entrepreneurial career. What was it like taking that leap of faith going into something that you knew you had your purpose set into?
It was scary. And I'm going to tell you this, it's still scary because, anytime you leave a corporate or you leave employment where at least I have a check coming in bi-monthly or monthly and I have benefits, and now you have to make every cent and dollar being an entrepreneur. It's still a little intimidating, I will say, from time to time. It's something now though that I know that I have to do. So I get up and I grind at it every single day. But initially when I was, starting out to take that leap of faith, I contemplate. I went back and forth with myself many times. And after that first year, so I think as my anniversary date rounded, which would have been March of 2017, after the first year, I really was like, wow, I'm not really sure if this is what I should have done, because I was looking at the dollars and cents. I was looking at, my tax returns from previous years as opposed to that particular year. But every time I would get a little down, I guess, if you would, about the financial part, it never failed. I would get an email or I would get a comment on one of my social media outlets where someone would say, hey, I saw you speak here, or I heard your interview here. It changed my life. Like now I'm able to do so-and-so. And that's when I, knew that I was on the right path for my purpose. And I had done the right thing as far as resigning in 2016.
So when did you start seeing things develop and growing into what you pictured when you left the pharmaceutical plant and went on to doing what your purpose was? When did you start seeing things connect and like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do the entire time. I'm taking my opportunity to go and do it.
When other people that are in the position that I'm in now either started reaching out to help me or giving me recognition and accolades, I knew then that I was going in the right direction. So other speakers, other authors started connecting, or started helping me connect the dots a little better, whether it was financially, culturally, definitely socially. I knew then. I said, okay, yeah, this is worth the headaches, the stress, the sometimes, frustrations and whatnot. I knew that it was all worth it at that point.
So I guess when you were going through these, like you said, like a lot of these speakers and authors were a big support system. Did you have people that you could go to, like as a big support system, that you had a circle of trust that you could develop and continue to grow?
Yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, one of my sayings is make sure that your circle is links and not kinks. So your circle of friends, families, should always be links and not kinks. So yeah, I have an amazing support system within my family. I have best friends that actually own their own businesses as well. So they understand my ups and downs, my valleys and my mountains. So they're able to help me whenever I, I feel a little overwhelmed with things. So yeah, it's very, very important, not just to have the links, but also to have the connectors. So that's what I'm talking about when I say, as far as other authors and speakers, connecting the dots for me. And these are like strangers, people that I don't know, but they just have, seen either videos or links, or maybe they were connected to the show host and they viewed my work and were like, okay, hey, if you do this, or if, can I do this for you? Or, how can I be in service to you? So yeah, those links, they definitely make a difference, or having a really, really good support system. Because one thing I do know in entrepreneur or otherwise, just in life, and this is my perspective in life in general, no man or no woman is an island, and you need somebody, or somebody needs you in order to get to where they want to be, or for you to get to where you want to be.
So when you started your entrepreneurial journey, what was the biggest thing you had to overcome besides your financial compensation? Because I'm trying to do more of an entrepreneurial thing myself in developing a sports brand, and I'm also trying to learn from others. And it's like, this is more of a personal question, but how did you overcome the money problems to see the bigger picture?
Okay, so number one, the financial piece, that was the absolute biggest piece. So I just started downscaling a lot of things in my life, just really valuing needs versus wants, because every dollar and cent that I would get, I would put it into my business. I would invest it into my business. I mean, I even went so far as, like, for Christmas, my birthday, different holidays where people would normally give me, maybe like a gift card or a purse or something like that. I would request, please invest into my business. So that's one way that I was able to overcome as far as with the financial piece. But let me just say this: the second and most equal piece, or fear, I guess, if you would, doubt that I had, was being able to open up my life to be more scrutinized than it already was. Because yeah, I got a lot of questions, a lot of different assessments as far as my life, what people thought my life was like. But I knew once I published the book and it was out there in black and white for everyone, and then I began this journey on this platform, I knew that it was going to be, it was going to have a positive impact. But then there would be the naysayers, there would be the negative Nancys and the negative Nelsons, and there are. I have a lot of people that they try to say, even to this day, like, why are you capitalizing off of your ex-husband's, his once lifestyle and whatnot? Well, why not? I mean, I was a part of it, and it's an amazing story. It was an amazing journey. And not only that, me being able to give people the real and raw feelings and emotions that I went through is helping them. Because they a lot of people idolize, or they really, really look to celebrities, or quote unquote celebrities, and they feel like there are no issues, there's no problems, like everything is just perfect penny, and there's no problem because you have power, you have status, you can have access to this and that. But there's still the same issues. I always tell people, and I even wrote about it in my book, the only issue that we did not have at that particular time was money. Like, money was never an issue, but every other issue, from our children getting into little bit of trouble from time to time, or he and I getting into different disagreements as a married couple, and then our family dynamics, and just different things. I mean, there were still issues. So I think that being able to open up and talk about those things now, not that I'm free, like I don't really care, but I was a little hesitant at that particular time to come out, because come out with this platform, because I figured that it would be, I would have a lot of scrutiny. So I had to overcome that too.
Yeah, you said you had to overcome the scrutiny. How did you mold yourself into accepting that and using it to grow, using it to see what you had to do to improve? Like, how did you see that? How did you view that scrutinizing?
So basically, the pros outweigh the cons. So the positivity outweigh the negativity, because for every negative person that says, I'm a gold digger, or I'm utilizing my ex's, his once notoriety to, climb the ladder and whatnot for myself, for every one person, I have like 7 people that, where their lives are actually being changed, and they are evolving into, phenomenal people because of my journey, because of my struggles and my trials and tribulations. And, not only that, just being open and honest with them about how I felt, why I felt the way that I did. And then not only that, but more importantly, what I did about it to overcome it. It was once an obstacle or an opposition, but now it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for good. So those are things that, have propelled me to just not pay attention to all of that other negative stuff. Because, if I were to do that, I would never get anywhere in life, even if it wasn't just about my platform, because I was faced with those things, even just interacting in day-to-day life before I became an NFL wife. Like there's always been some sort of discord or some sort of negativity. So, I might as well just use every tool that I have to be a positive influence, and definitely be a world changer. And that's what I'm seeking.
From your personal experience, what is the biggest misconception about having that status, that life? Because everyone wants to strive for that, but no one sees the consequences that come with it.
So there are two things. One is the standard of beauty. Now I'm going to be a little vain and a little shallow with that one, but it's true. I guess people look at the WAGs, the wives and girlfriends, and they think that, oh my God, she never has a day where she doesn't, where she doesn't think she's not pretty, or like her hair is always perfect. Nope, that's not the case. We have down days to where we don't feel pretty, or we feel like we don't measure up. So that would be the first and probably the biggest, I guess, misperception that people have. And then the second one that is, a tremendous downer is where other people have their husbands or their spouse, if it's the professional athlete, if it's a female, they have their spouse. Therefore, most of the occasions, traditional holidays, we do not. So, it's kind of like, and yeah, you can say, well, you're getting money, you have a certain lifestyle that is, that's the price that you pay, or the cost that you pay for that. Well, that's true in a way, but for me now, and I can only speak from my perspective, my children and I definitely would have liked for their dad and my husband at that time to be home a lot more. But I know that he was pursuing his dreams. He was following his purpose and his passion, and that was just a part of it. So yeah, that's a big piece of it, having, the person that is, out front in the public eye, they're gone.
Through your journey that you've had throughout your life, what is the biggest takeaway you've had in what you've went through?
The biggest takeaway, that would probably be now, when I tell my mind something, it believes it. And I never really grasped, I guess, the power of thought, the power of my mind, being able to just, actually control it, as opposed to outside influences or other things or other people influencing it. So now that I'm on this journey, like, I'm actually walking in a lot stronger truth of who I am, because I have set the tone for who I am. Like, I tell myself who I am every day. I always say I'm love, I'm light, I'm peace, I'm inspiration, I'm encouragement. So for me, that's huge, because even as a little girl, I remember being that way. And somewhere along the lines in translation, I'm not really sure what age or what stage or what phase, I lost that. Like, I lost that confidence. I lost that ability to just be unapologetically, be, unbothered, unfazed, 100% Angela. And now I have it back.
Talk about what you have coming up for you, like what you have like planned for yourself. Like what's your what are some of your future projects that you're looking to build on with your platform?
Absolutely. So right now I am in talks with an anti-bullying initiative, because I also have a lead program for youth ages 6 to 17, and that's Listen, Education, Ambition, and Determination. So I'm in talks with a group that actually goes around the globe where they have former or current NFL player or professional athletes, rappers, ones with different influence. I'm in talks with them right now to be on their speaking circuit. So that's pretty big for me. And then also I'm working on my 4th book, which will be inspirational and motivational quotes and sayings. And then also I am just going to continue enlarging or expanding the platform and enlarging my message across the globe through social media. I'm starting a YouTube channel that will, just give different tidbits, give inspiration and motivation that will definitely uplift, and then some entertainment too. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but I love to dance, and so that's like a part of my my presentation sometimes whenever I'm getting across to people, when I do like motivational Mondays or I do different things, they enjoy me dancing and I enjoy dancing. So we'll be doing some of those things, and just still believing for one of the things that is on my long-term list is opening up nonprofit literacy community centers across the globe. Like I want every person, that wants the opportunity to read better, to read more, to just be more, foundational and basic fundamentals of reading. I want them to be able to have that and to be able to enjoy that. So those are some of the things, short-term and long-term that I'm looking at right now.
So as we wrap up the show, is there a tidbit of advice you'd want to give to the listeners and what you'd recommend they do through these tough times, if they have any?
Well, definitely, I would say as you navigate in life, you have to really, really hone in on who you are, because when you define who you are, no one will be able to confine you to who they want you to be. So just continue to trust in yourself. Don't trust in the magazines and the TV and, shows and society to tell you who you are. You tell you who you are. And then that will make for a better life, obviously, for you. And not only that, it'll help you to get off that bench and get in the game of life, because usually spectators are the ones that make the most noise. We find that, but those players learn to block them out, and they just play their own game, no matter what. So I would just really, really suggest defining who you are and just walking in it, staying true and being true to who you set the tone for who you want to be.
All right, I think that's going to conclude the 39th episode of Sports Avenue with Angela Marshall. Angela, I want to say thank you for coming on here. I am so glad that you came on here, because I love the perspective that you gave in talking about how your life went, even through, it might seem for a lot of others through the public eye that it's something that's great, it's something that's flamboyant, it's something that's so nice that you wish you would achieve. It's not like that when you look really into the book and see what is going on. So thank you for that. I truly appreciate bringing you on and hearing your story.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity for me to be able to interact and to share that part, those parts from me, because it is. And I say that all the time. I'm not denouncing the NFL. I'm definitely not denouncing money. I'm not bashing my ex-husband. This is all about, as you know better, you do better. And then also it's about being able to just walk in truth that helps to free people. So I think, like they say, applied knowledge is power. So the more you know, the better decisions and the better choices that you can make. So thank you. I'm definitely humbled and honored to be a part of your show.
Yeah, not a problem. You are more than welcome to return, and I would love to have you back on to talk more about your life and how it went. So I just want to say thank you again. And that's going to conclude the 39th episode of Sports Avenue. Angela, would you like to tell everybody where they can find you through social media?
Absolutely. I am on IG, LinkedIn, Facebook. Of course, it's Angela Marshall, Augusta, Georgia. Or you can Google The Story and Life of an Ex-NFL Wife, and that will get you to me as well as books. I've authored 3 books, but the main one, which is the autobiography, The Story and Life of an Ex-NFL Wife, you can download, you can purchase Lulu.com, Amazon, Kindle, iBooks, every social media outlet possible. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So yeah, guys, if you want to connect with my social media, I'll put it in the description below. I will also put some of Angela's social media in the description below, guys. Everyone, thank you for listening. Tune in. We got a bunch of more guests that are going to be on the way, and I'm really excited to bring them on. Angela starts it off with a bang, and I'm really excited for this list to keep rolling on. So guys, I will see you soon on Sports Avenue. Take care, have a great week, and I'll see you soon. And the road for sports starts here.